everybody, how we doing today? Ollie's ASMR World here. Hope we're all good. So it's Friday, and I have three little puppies, being little buggers, right there. They will not shut up, so I apologise for any racket you hear on in the background. I can't stop them. I mean, how do you stop three puppies playing up? It's impossible. This is their playtime, 6:30 in the morning, whereas most people are asleep. So today I want to cover something quite relevant in football, in my opinion, and something I found interesting. I think you will too. Let me try and stop these puppies right there. Okay, as I said, that's going to be impossible, so forget that. If they make a noise, I apologise. Okay, so as I said, I want to talk about something I find quite relevant in football and quite interesting. So I like to read books about football, and I read quite a bit about football and other various subjects and books and stories, but usually football. And this is the book I'm reading at the minute. It's by Michael Calvin, who is a journalist. He's wrote a lot of good books. Just so I can recap which ones he's done. Oh, The Nowhere Men, which was about football scouts that you don't hear about. Living on the Volcano, which was all different stories about managers from depression to success, all that sort of stuff. This one here is about young footballers. The ones who, oh my god, they're doing my head in now. This is about the young footballers, the ones that don't necessarily make it in the world of football. The stories we don't hear about. The young footballers that we say, why don't clubs bring through? What we want to see youth in our team. This is about the way it tells stories of how our clubs treat young footballers, and how when we think they've got it nice and easy, they haven't always got that easy. And there's a lot of good stories in here. About halfway through so far. I just want to read a chapter to you, which I found like incredibly sort of important and due to my love of football. So I hope you enjoy the video. If it gets a bit boring, I apologise. I found it really interesting. I hope you do too. Okay guys, let's get going. Just gotta find the page. Please be quiet, puppies, please. They've chosen today to really go at it with each other, the little buggers. I think it's because it's their 5-week birthday today. Today they were born 5 weeks ago. And they're just like, right, let's make a racket. Okay, the chapter is called Family. I'm going to turn down the gain on here so that you don't get too much of them but idiots. If we can. Okay, won't go down anymore, so I apologise as I said. Okay, the chapter is called Family. Can a logical limit be placed on parental love? When does the most powerful human emotion become too much to bear? What happens when the constituent cells of pride and devotion divide and mutate? How can intimate relationships survive external pressure? Are family bonds, tight and sacred, suddenly shredded by the strain? There are no easy answers, but the questions intrude as the setting sun embroiders the southern bank of the River Don and the valley in which Sheffield sits. Zach Brunt is being tutored by Miguel Angel Lera in the far corner of the outdoor Power League complex, which overlooks the Hallam University athletics track. Watched by his father Glenn and his mother Rachel, he warms up by caressing a football on a string hanging from his black body harness. Even at the required rate of 60 touches a minute, it is possible to be languid. I mean, imagine that. This is what young footballers have to go through. He has a ball strapped to his chest from like a string sort of thing. Remember when he was a kid, them balls you could kick him and they bounce back to you. Something like that. And he has to kick it, touch it 60 times a minute. So one every second. Turn the as it is manipulated first by the outside of Zach's orange boot, then by the instep. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Parade ground perfect. Lara, the former MK Dons, Charlton and Sheffield Wednesday defender, throws a second unfettered ball into the mix. The boy, relatively slight but completely engaged, must pass it back while maintaining the rhythm. So whilst continuing to kick the one ball, left, right, left, right, left, right, he has to pass back at a second ball without stopping with the first ball. Keep watching the sky, the coach urges, as he seeks to encourage flexibility, agility and sureness of touch. Come on, bap, 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 give me a half volley. They move to a plyometric ladder. Zach must dance through it at a high tempo, so a ladder on the floor, where he has to hop through each run. Continuing to control the balls being tossed at him at different angles and speeds, so he has to jump through a ladder, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, whilst passing balls back. How crazy is that? And this is even a professional football, this is a young lad. High level of concentration. Can you feel it? Of course you can. Good touches, high knee, landed on your toes. That's what the coach is saying. Lara develops the drill, moving into the centre of the heavily rubberised five-side pitch to fire passes at hip height. The boy is expected to follow a deft first touch with an accurate side foot finish into a portable miniature goal. Pivot your body, position right. They progress to resistance work. Zach is tethered to the main goalpost, ordered to run forward and leap over the parallel lines of cones before the tension in the cord pulls him back to the starting point. He grimaces and sprints again, weaving through 5 more cones, set at 45 degrees to each other. So I've seen this myself. They all tie them to one end to a goalpost and the other end around something on their body like a harness, and they've got to run as quick as they can whilst being pulled back. The coach's commentary has a complimentary urgency. Quicker, quicker, quicker. Bend your knee. Bap, 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 bap. Don't let the tension be stronger than you. Keep your focus. Now you're getting more and more tired. This is when the challenge comes. Come on, don't stop the gas. This is the 94th minute. Lara relents and speaks softly to his pupil in Spanish as he frees him from the yoke. Like a horse whisperer let loose in an unsettling enclosure, even in the sodium-shaded shadows cast by 4 bulb floodlights, the sheen of sweat sparkles on the boy's forehead. He is breathing shallowly, exhaling before he swigs energy drink from a sports-capped bottle. I love watching him, confides Rachel, his mum, a small woman who laughs at the memory of the chaos caused by his childhood habit of using the living room of their home in Chesterfield as a playground. We lost count of the number of ornaments he smashed, kicking the ball around. The dog couldn't get out of the way quick enough. Glenn, who stands alongside the fence, cupping his hands around a container of black coffee, has a natural intensity. As such, he is the perfect narrator for his son's story. Zach may only be 14. I mean, bear in mind what I just told you he's got to do. He's 14 years old. But he has crammed enough incident, opportunity and disappointment into his football experience to accommodate a lifetime. Right, bear with us. His training kit, first worn during an open trial for Chelsea in May 2015, offers a hint about the nature of the journey without revealing its harshness and complexity. The numbers 215 on the light blue top and 214 on the dark blue shorts testify to the scale of the audition. So it's an open trial for Chelsea, and there was at least over 215 kids there. He was number 215. Zach had just turned 5 when he was asked to join pre-academy group at Sheffield United. Listen to that. Remember what you was doing at 5 years old? Do you remember much about it? Probably not. He was playing for Sheffield United at an academy level at 5. That is scary stuff to think about. He was invited to breakfast with the first team squad and posed for photographs with Gary Speed, the late great Gary Speed. At At 6, he emulated a 12-year-old David Beckham and won the World Schools Skills title at Manchester United Soccer School. 6 years old, he won a world title. Sky Sports News did a live link from his first training session back at Sheffield United. He continued to spend Saturday mornings there. But devoted 2 midweek nights to Aston Villa at their Bodymore Heath training complex, and a third night to Man United at the storied old training ground, the Cliff. So this young kid, who was like 6 years old, was playing. He'd be at Sheffield United on a Saturday morning, 2 nights at Aston Villa in the week, and one night at Man United. So that's 4 days training for a 6-year-old. I imagine Sheffield, Birmingham, and Manchester. All I go on as a football dad is, Aston Villa is bigger than Sheffield United, so of course we're going to give it a go. Then Rachel took a call from United and rang me at my mum's. They wanted Zach to go up there. We were all United fans at the time, so we couldn't knock that back. When I consider it now, I think, what was I doing? I'm ashamed, to be honest. So, this young kid started at Sheffield United. Before long he was at Villa, and before he knew what was going on, he'd been moved on to United to start training with them. We didn't want to burn bridges, so it was a case of school, sandwiches, and homework in the car. Zach was looking at me and his mum as if to say, "What do you think?" We knew it. We're new to it, naive, so he picks up our excitement. He's a good kid. I've spoken to him about it since, and he felt that he needed to go on with it because it's what we wanted him to do. Mum and Dad want to take me here, there, and everywhere. I don't want to let them down. The tone is confessional, unstinting, lacerating. Glenn Brunt is prepared to admit to what is usually regarded as inadmissible evidence of parental weakness. That takes a distinctive form of moral courage and unstinting self-awareness, because his demeanour suggests it triggers potentially self-destructive emotions. During Zach's younger years, I had a lot of fury at him. This is his dad saying that. He generally played up an age group and did well, so he was playing above his age. But on this day at the Cliff for United, he was not on it. We were coming down the motorway and I completely lost it. I'm screaming and shouting at him. He has a vacancy across his face which just makes me more angry. I'm going, "Don't you realise George Best and Bobby Charlton played on that pitch? Do you not know what I mean?" Of course, he had no concept of what I was going on about. He was just 6. Rachel had a word with me when we got home. She said, "It's not him that needs to change, it's you." He realised his relationship with his son had become dangerously constricted, since it depended on whether Zach had reached perceived standards of excellence. His immediate response to enrol on a sports psychology course at the Open University in an attempt to gain a deeper insight into the power of the mind did not alter the priority, choosing the club at which Zach would take an academy place. He's still like 6 years old here, guys. We had the bright lights, big city syndrome, and were torn between Villa and United. We had met no bad individuals at that stage. Everybody was hunky-dory. There are good people in the system, but there are also a lot of second-hand car salesmen. They crawl all over you to buy the vehicle and get the signature, but when they've got it, they're suddenly busy, they're not interested. So basically, agents that sign them up and just don't give a damn. The Brunts opted to accept a contract from Villa and moved into rented accommodation in Staffordshire, closer to Bodymore. It was a fundamental family decision. So this family moved home from their home in Chesterfield, I think is where they was living at the time, or Sheffield, wherever it was, to Birmingham, just for their son's football career. He was 6 years old. Just remember that. Since Glenn and Rachel are officially registered carers for 2 profoundly disabled sons, as they've got 2 other sons who are disabled, each has cerebral palsy. Niall is wheelchair bound and reliant on 24-hour care, while sighted, registered blind. A fourth son, Liam, almost died when he was run over at the age of 4. Glenn still suffers flashbacks from pulling him out from under the car. Zach, an academically bright child, excelled at a local junior school and excelled in his first 6 months at the Villa Academy. A pivotal problem arose when he set up a goal with a look-away pass during a training match. So he knows what he's doing. He's just playing the pass without looking where he's playing it to. The coach stopped the session, criticised the extravagance of the gesture, and alienated the child. Zach, being a 9-year-old, took that as a personal jibe. He was 9 years old when this happened. Sorry guys, the coach ignored him after this. It wasn't because we saw other kids get the same treatment, but they were looking for conventional play. Pick up, pass, look to receive, so get it, pass it, look. I didn't think that there were too many better than him at running with the ball and being tricky, so I worried they would take away what was good about him. Was he going to be another statistic and fall away? I realised even as I say that I was lost in the process of how he was going to get through. Zach started to feel coaches were on at him. I was instructing him another way, saying, don't let your skills go. It's about bums on seats in this game. I've changed, thank God, but I'm just trying to be candid. I don't like a lot of what I see in myself back then. It's very difficult for a 9-year-old to do what his dad is asking. When people at the club are saying, don't do this, don't do that, in the end he said, Dad, I'm not sure I want to do this anymore. We did have more time together as an immediate family because of the relocation, but we missed the respite care we received from our extended family. We didn't realise how much they did for us. Minding the boys at the weekend, I started suffering from anxiety. Me and Rachel started, falling apart a little bit. I felt I should know what to do, but I didn't. I just didn't. Imagine that. She's got 4 kids. 2 of them are disabled. 1 kid, he has to get here, there and everywhere for his football. All he wants to do is for this kid to make it as a footballer, for the kid's sake. And the kid's not having a good time of it at Villa right there and then. Him and his wife are having trouble. They've moved away from their family, immediate family who used to help them. When we went to see the club to talk about the way Zach was being treated, we were just palmed off. When we were welcomed in with open arms before, it became a real tug of war. I was told, you need to show more commitment. So I'm like, well, you've not suggested we move down, but I've relocated my family. So Villa actually said, you need to be more committed. He's moved his family. The decision to leave, exacerbated by a dispute over mileage expenses, was complicated by a far-reaching disagreement of the nature of Zach's contract. The club rejected his father's contention. He had been promised his son would be released without compensation. So the father decided to move his son out of there because he wasn't being. The club refused to pay for his petrol, even though he was spending a lot of money on petrol. And obviously the trouble he was having with the coaches, so he decided to take his son out of the academy. But he was 9 years old, and Villa wanted compensation for this young 9-year-old footballer. He was unable to play for 10 months whilst Villa looked for a fee. Man City eventually recruited him on the recommendation of Sheffield-based Christian Wilson, one of their elite development coaches. His registration was initially rejected by the Premier League because the family lived outside prevailing 1-hour travel time limits due to a difficult journey across the Peak District. So the Premier League insist that any youth player has to live within 1 hour of their training base. But accepted the Bruns' counter-argument on appeal that relocation was impractical because of the twins' need to be within reach of hospital treatment. City were welcoming. Zach was invited to meet Roberto Mancini in the dugout before a league game, ironically against Villa. The pubs have gone to sleep, by the way. He met Joe Hart and was presented with David Silva's signed shirt. Yet his form in his first season in the under-11s was lukewarm. following season were compounded by the disintegration of his father's relationship with a coordinating coach for the under-12s and 13s. A confrontation triggered by disputed accusations of favouritism and a perceived lack of game time marked a point of no return, so his dad was frustrated because he felt other players were getting favouritism from the coach and his son was getting no game time. Glenn admits he sent City an anonymous letter of complaint which was not acted upon. He was left to pick up the pieces when the club acceded to his request that Zach should be released. Don't get me wrong, there are some good people at City, but Zach's self-esteem suffered. He doesn't stay low for very long because he has an intrinsic ability to bounce back. But that doesn't make it right. He was known in Chesterfield as the kid that plays for Man City. All of a sudden, he's the kid playing grassroots football. There were snide remarks towards him. He found it difficult. A YouTube clip of him as an 8-year-old in a red England kit demonstrating his ball skills was used against him. An ill-advised caption read, "Remember his name, this boy is going to be a star." So that's what they put underneath the caption on the YouTube video. Innocence acts as incitement on what should really be termed anti-social media. Commentaries were crass, callous and barely illiterate. So this is what was put underneath that YouTube clip in the comments section. It's one thing kicking a ball in your back garden. I'm pretty sure he won't have the time to be doing pointless tricks in the middle of a game. He was 10 years old, 11 years old. 8 when he did the video. A lot of kids his age are better. For all we know, them videos could have took hundreds of takes before any of them worked. I see all these videos of kids having mad skill and that they're the next Messi or Ronaldo, but in reality they're probably going to suck. Even someone like me, inured to the rough and tumble of opinion over decades observing sport at the highest level, treads warily in the comments section beneath the line. Such forums offer a platform for cowards and charlatans, the deluded and the plain nasty. Experience would have cautioned Zach against plunging into this cesspit, but his strength of character, indirectly answering his detractors, was admirable, so he responded to a couple of them. "This boy is crap. He isn't going to make it to pro. Won't even come close." He said, "Thank you very much for your support. I'll use it to drive me." It's so annoying when he finishes doing his skill and he just stays there, staring at the camera happily. He responded, "You got a problem with me being happy? I'm sure last time I checked, football was a hobby in which you're supposed to enjoy yourself." Somebody else said, "Kid, kill yourself for once. You know I'm better, boy. Whitey, I'm Asian, boy. You look like a burnt white sweet potato with your crocodile hair." What does that even mean? How friggin' stupid does that sound? I'm Asian, boy. What a muppet, man. The lad said, "Zach, this is. Thank you very much for your comment. I appreciate it." Fair play to him. He could have been a bit of a bugger about it, but he wasn't. This, remember, is a boy approaching his 12th birthday. 12. A blood sacrifice on the altar of so-called public opinion. Zach stayed at home, watching videos of Paul Gascoigne and falling in love with the South American football. The sense of a family being sucked into a vortex of unfeasible ambition heightened when he announced he would like to study at a Brazilian academy. I mean, not in England, or in Brazil. Even now, more than 2 years later, Glenn shakes his head at the surreal nature of the subsequent conversation. I said, "You know where Brazil is. That's obviously not going to happen." So he said, "Where's the second best place in the world to learn then?" His son said that. I mean, bear in mind, I have a daughter, and I would support her in anything she wanted to do, but not to this level, I'm afraid. Where's the second best place to learn? It has to be Spain, doesn't it? My wife is as barking mad as I am, and she is privy to this, so she just said, "Take him." I said, "What do you mean, take him?" She said, "Just take him. You don't want to go into another English academy, do you?" reasoned that an approach to Spanish clubs by a father seeking advancement for his son would be doomed to failure. Instead, he used his recently earned diploma in sports psychology to give applications for a trial, the veneer of professional distance. It worked. Real Valladolid, parents, young kid from England. Real Valladolid, Villarreal and Atletico Madrid were prepared to take a look on those terms. His first session was staged in 35-degree heat, but by the time Zach reached Madrid, following polite rejections by the other two clubs, so Villarreal said no, Valladolid said no, Atletico Madrid says, yeah, come on now, let's have a look. He had acclimatised to the weather by then. He played outstandingly well over 2 weeks, impressing with his diligence and technical ability. Atletico's offer of a youth contract, contained in an email received 48 hours after their return to Chesterfield, gave the adventure sudden gravity. So his lad had gone from Sheffield United, leaving Villa, leaving Man City. He's now at Atletico Madrid. He's like 12, 13 at Atletico Madrid, an English kid. We had viewed it as a bit of a vacation really, but that's when the enormity of it hit home. We couldn't relocate as a family. We were reliant on the NHS, which is wonderful despite its woes, and had a decision to make. Rachel told us to go. She would make it work at home for however long it lasted. So this wife and husband are leaving each other, going to different countries for their son's football career. The family agreed to regard the first fortnight of Zach's return to Spain with his father as an extended experiment. It went well. He was allocated to Atletico's B squad, and once the formalities of his education were established, he signed for them. Money was tight, but they paid €600 a month to share an apartment with an elderly Argentine couple. Football was the easy part. Zach excelled in a series of tournaments and enjoyed the emphasis of mastery of the ball. Yet everyday life was hardly the stuff of soft-focused cinematic fantasy. He cried each morning on his way into a local school. He had to go to a Spanish school, by the way, in which little leeway was allowed for his lack of language skills. He had only had a couple of Spanish lessons before they moved to Madrid and struggled initially to make friends. Homework was an ordeal. His father failed to find work and filled the time between academy sessions by studying for a long-distance psychology degree. It took more than 6 months before the artlessness of the exercise became apparent. The club called Glenn into a meeting at the Vicente Calderon Stadium. They had bad news to impart. FIFA had noted the absence of an answer in the section of the registration form devoted to the father's employment. Glenn had left it blank, since he had no employment. Without grasping the reality that this would make Zach ineligible to play, despite an attempt to argue he intended to use his qualifications to set up a sports psychology practice, FIFA ruled he had moved to Spain for football-related rather than work-related reasons. So, if he'd filled in that section, if he'd had a job to go into, the kid would have been allowed to stay at Atletico Madrid, where he was doing really, really well. But because he'd left it blank, he didn't have a job to go straight into, they said he was going there for football-related money reasons, and they won't allow that. This was a breach of Article 19 of FIFA's regulations, set up to tackle child trafficking. In essence, no player under 18 can be transferred internationally unless the family are relocating for employment purposes. A statute drawn up for the most honourable of reasons to protect minors being enslaved by unscrupulous agents or unprincipled clubs was being used against him. In my total and utter naivety, I thought nothing about the regulation concerning the protection of minors. We'd simply done things off our own back. We tried to fight it, but I absolutely understood the principle. I've read stories of African kids left on the streets when things do not work out. But it is a case of one net catching all. doesn't seem to be looked at on an individual basis. I had gone through the immigration procedures. We were welcomed into Spain as long as we were not going to feed off their social care system, which I totally understand. Zach soon loved it there. The football was made for him. I could see so much progress in him. His language skills were improving, and he was socialising with Spanish friends. Rachel had flown over a couple of times with the twins, and we'd gone back to England every 3 months. It was starting to work. In limbo, while the appeals process was underway, Zach played informally at a semi-professional club in Majadahonda, a town on the northwestern fringe of Madrid. He played alongside the son of Guti, the former Real Madrid player, who, ignorant of the broader picture, offered to arrange a trial at his old club. So he offered to arrange a trial for Real Madrid, probably just to annoy Atletico Madrid. Like Zach's previous Spanish coaches, Guti recognised the boy's long-term potential as a number 10. In the more literally minded English system, Zach's skill had seen him pigeonholed as a winger. The irony of another sustainable opportunity arising in such random circumstances was uncharacteristically cruel. The family was offered the chance of taking their case to the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Lausanne, but could not afford the legal fees. They were forced, in Glenn's words, to come home with our tails between our legs. The final submissive gesture came just before Christmas 2015, when Glenn drove alone to Madrid in a completely empty car. He loaded up as many of their belongings as he could, settled his outstanding rent with his landlady, and pulled the shutters down on an impulsive, impossible dream. By then, Zach was back in the domestic system. Arsenal had offered an official 6-week trial, and Chelsea was sufficiently interested to want to monitor his progress. So by now he's been to Sheffield, Birmingham, Manchester, Madrid, now London. But endless hours of the motorway network had finally lost their allure. He trained with Sheffield United for a short spell before joining Derby County, a progressive academy flourishing under Darren Wazzle, their former defender. His father's comfort in relative normality is reflected by a self-deprecating summary. I've plenty to compare it to, but it's very difficult to find a negative with Derby. The staff are very approachable, reliable. Zach had a good first full season with them, and he's really enjoying it. He's quite vocal and quite forward without being rude, but unlike some the coaches there say, they appreciate that. The past is literally another country, though he cannot officially be represented until he's 16. Zach has an association with 1010 Talent, an agency that counts Pele, Gareth Southgate and Glenn Hoddle among its clients. He's 15, and he's represented by Pele's agency. Yeah, agents that represent Pele also represent this kid. They facilitated a minor kit deal with Adidas, in which merchandise was also made available to his brothers. The family's collective challenge is to retain perspective and stability. Though football as an industry is nearly finished now, guys. Uncomfortable with candor, the openness is refreshing. On this particular night in Sheffield, it didn't seem impertinent to ask Glenn to outline the enduring lessons of his role in his son's irregular development. He said, I had a sort of inner arrogance because Zach was showing a certain level of promise. But I'm not an arrogant person. I thought we need to look for Premier League. He's better than Chesterfield, Sheffield United, Rotherham, whoever. Maybe, if I had not taken that path, Zach's path might have been different. He may just have gone to Derby at an early age and loved it. The grass isn't always greener. Don't let pride get in the way. Bigger clubs don't treat players any better. The coaching is not necessarily any better. I'm much more relaxed about things now. A totally different person. I still get anxious before a game and let a little grunt go if he skies a free kick. I still feel like I'm out there with him, so I've still got some progress to make, but I enjoy it more now. The one golden thing I try to remember is I've still got a relationship with my son if football doesn't work out. We have our little tiffs and fallouts, but I'm very close to him, irrespective of how he goes on the pitch. If I had my time again, I won't get as emotionally involved. I'd actually ask Zach what he wanted to do, which is what I do now. He has the final say. I won't discuss things in front of him with Rachel or anyone for that matter, because a child naturally wants to impress his parents. He tends to think, oh well, they're thinking that way, so I'm going to go with that. Some things have been bad for him, but he's learned a lot, very early, about who you can and can't trust. His study of sports psychology continues. He offers advice to other parents free of charge, and knows he's a powerful case study. I see the parents as I was. It's like dealing with an alcoholic. You need them to get to a point where they say, I've got a problem. The amount of parents that won't acknowledge they've got an issue with their son would surprise you. Some are in football for the right reasons, but others are doing it because, essentially, they live through their son. They see a pension plan and all sorts. They get caught up in it. It goes through me. Some of the things I hear parents do and say. He trails off. The inference of his having learned from past mistakes a beacon in the gloom. A group of Asian lads are waiting to take their turn on the five-side pitch, having packed up the kit into 4 bags. Zach and Finn Hunter, a school friend preparing for a trial with Rotherham, are absent-mindedly scuffling for possession, kicking football against the fence. There's always time for another lesson. This is the English culture, Lara exclaims. You should be resting, cooling down after a good session. Now boom, you're running around again, smashing balls. You're treating your body like a car that's driven at 200 kilometers an hour. It ticks over at 30 for a short while, and then you accelerate it up to 200 again. No wonder things break. So he's on about why English kids, especially this young lad here, risks injuring himself because he doesn't give himself a break after training. Lecture over. He lowers his voice and considers the merits of his principal pupil. Zach wants to be better every day. He gives good feedback and works really hard. His desire is very strong, but he is also a boy. He tries to fuck with me a little. In Spain, there's more discipline, more respect for the coach and manager. But if he listens to me, maintains his focus and concentrates, he can adapt to the football life. He must be true to himself. This is a difficult concept for any adolescent to come to terms with. Glenn asks me to pose for a photograph with Zach, and is eager that his son and I should chat. In truth, I'm uncomfortable with conducting a formal interview, but I play down its significance by suggesting to him that it would be good practice for the future. He speaks softly, but smiles readily, almost as a self-defense mechanism. It has been rough at times. It has been a long journey, a great experience, and I've enjoyed the ride. Looking back, it's made me stronger as a person. It has developed me as a player. Different aspects of my game have improved. There were times when I thought, this is too hard. When I was training at Man United, I looked around and thought, wow, this is unreal. I thought it was too difficult at times in Spain, when I was missing my mum and brothers and friends, but I got through it. Scoring a hat-trick for Atletico in front of my grandparents and brothers was my best moment. I'm buzzing thinking of it now. My dad used to be aggressive at times. The worst time for me was in the car on the way home from United. I'd had a bad session, he had a go, and I cried my eyes out all the way back home. He didn't want to go out. I didn't want to go out of my comfort zone, but if that involved me doing something for him to be happy, I did it. Now I've grown up, nothing bothers me anymore. No other lad has been through what I've been through over the last 8 years. It is unique. I'm stronger than a lot of people out there. I've also got my brothers behind me, which is a big drive for me. I do think I'm going to be a footballer. It's going to be really hard to make it, but it has got to be done. Go well, young man. You have earned the right to dream. Stay safe out there, for there are still many swirling rivers to cross. And that's that's the end of the chapter, guys. And I read that, when I did read it, I thought, wow, just imagine that, the amount of stick we give kids, like young youth players, when they come through into your team. I've done it plenty of times at United, and we don't know what these players have been through. Any player for that matter. Alexis Sanchez did not become Alexis Sanchez by just waking up one day and saying, I'm going to be a footballer, and he's a footballer. I give him stick all the time. He would have gone through all this stuff with academies back in Chile or wherever. Well, he's Chilean, isn't he? So he would have started out there probably. And all the kids that don't make it, I mean, oh my god, how many players do your team bring through a season? Especially the Premier League, maybe one if you're lucky. How many young players don't make it and drop down the divisions? It's crazy to think. It's a great book. I would strongly recommend picking up a Michael Calvin book. He's one of the best football authors I've ever read. Fantastic. Right, guys, now we've got through that, let's have a quick look at the Premier League fixtures this weekend. And also we have the League Cup final, Chelsea Man City. City beat Schalke 3-2 on Wednesday. Chelsea beat Malmo 3-0 last night. Let's have a quick look at that one first. Okay, so Chelsea City. I think Chelsea will learn from the heavy defeat they took 6-0 at Man City. I don't think that'll be the case again this time. I don't see how they can't make changes from that game. I still expect City to win. I think Higuain, yeah, okay, got the couple of goals in his first game. Was it 2 goals against Huddersfield? But since then, didn't look like scoring against United, didn't look like scoring against City, and I don't think he will on the weekend. I'm going with a 2-0 Man City victory in the League Cup final on Sunday. Tonight we have 2 Premier League games. Funnily enough, we have Cardiff against Watford and West Ham Fulham. I reckon Cardiff can win that. They got a result in that last game, didn't they, from what I remember? Let's see if we can find that quick time. Oh, it was like 2 weeks ago, because, the weekend, I don't know when it was. So I'm going with a Cardiff victory at home against Watford. It's very huge for their fans that they get a win in this game. And I reckon Cardiff will win 2-0. West Ham Fulham at the London Stadium. I'm going to go West Ham to win that game 2-1. I think Mitrovic will get a goal for Fulham. Tomorrow in the Premier League we only have 4 games. I hate that on a Saturday, only a few games. We have Burnley, Tottenham at 12:30. Tottenham need to win if they have any chance at all of catching Liverpool and City. They have to win this game. It'll be a tough game. Harry Kane could make a return. Pochettino said I reckon he might go on off the bench, and only if we really need him. I'm going to go with Tottenham to win 2-0. Bournemouth Wolves, tough game away for Wolves this is, but Bournemouth not always reliable on getting a result. You know, one week they'll get a result, next week they won't. So I'm going to go with Wolves to get a result here. 1-0. Newcastle, Huddersfield Town. Newcastle to win this one 3-0, I reckon. Leicester Palace. Palace, they can score, but Leicester at home, I'm going to back them to win 2-0. And Sunday in the Premier League we should have had Chelsea Brighton, but that was cancelled due to Chelsea being in the League Cup final. We have Arsenal Southampton at the Emirates. I'm going to go Arsenal to win 2-1. And Man United Liverpool, a game I will definitely be watching at 2:05 on Sunday. United victory. As you heard it here first, guys. You've probably heard other people say the way United are playing, the way they played against Chelsea on Monday. Very impressive. United was against Chelsea on Monday in the FA Cup, beating them 2-0. I don't see any reason why we can't beat Liverpool. Liverpool got a goal draw against Bayern Munich, weren't taking their chances. United have had an extra day's rest. 2 days extra rest. Is it Liverpool played on Tuesday Liverpool played. United played on Monday, so had 1 day rest extra. it'll be tough. It really will be. And under Mourinho, there's no chance in hell United getting everything out of that game. But it's not under Mourinho now. It's under Ole. Yeah, baby. I'm going with United to get a victory. 2-0. I can't wait. I would have dreaded this game under Mourinho. Now I'm actually looking forward to it. How crazy is that? Or just what a change of manager can do. How much happier they can make you watching your football. Yeah, we lost to PSG. I get that. We'll probably lose to them in the second leg. Ollie hasn't made any transfers. He's sold Fellaini. That's all he's done. And that was a big step in sorting our club out. I honestly believe the next one will be Lukaku. I think he will be. You know, that's not Ollie's way of playing. If Ollie gets the job permanently, I think Lukaku goes. Sorry, everyone. And as I said, he has fixed our club for now, anyway. But he's not been able to bring in the players that he wants, so I don't expect massive changes in a second leg against PSG. No chance. But I can handle going out to PSG in the Champions League. Not if we met the Champions League for next season. And give it a better shot and get a couple more players in and move a couple of players on. He's got Lindelof playing amazing. It's fantastic the change in Lindelof and Pogba and Rashford. Lingard injured at the minute. Okay, fair enough. Martial injured. Okay, fair enough. Matic, Herrera looks like a world beater. Luke Shaw's playing well. David De Gea's back to his best. It's just incredible to see. Sorry, guys. And I can't wait for the game on Sunday. Come on, get in. I just wish Van Dijk wasn't playing for Liverpool, but he is. So I can't help that one, can we? Right, have a great day, everyone. Take care. I am absolutely knackered. I need another one of these, and I'm about to go on my punch bag and lift some weights, because that's what we do at 7:20 in the morning when you lot are just waking up. Oh God, oh, I'm still asleep.